Hello and welcome to episode number 47 of the Boxing Social Podcast in association with Betfred. Before I forget, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that. And by the way, it's a very special edition today because Barry Jones, birthday edition.
Yes, it's
Happy birthday. Now, before we burn the place down, we've actually got a little cup.
Well, I can't reach because I'm not a giant
you
like
have
you.
this one.
God bless you.
I'll get the other one. Don't let it burn anything.
Okay. It's not.
How old do you know about?
That's irrelevant, right? I shared his birthday with Sugar Ray Robinson.
It was Barry's birthday on Tuesday. We were recording on Thursday. It was mine yesterday. So
I shared a birthday with Sugar Ray Robinson and Spencer Phelan's daughter.
Do you actually?
Yeah. And Declan was the next day. Happy birthday, Jack.
May the 4th be with you for me. So
don't tell me.
Cesc Fabregas, actually.
Can you put it back? Because again, I can't reach.
Yeah, mate. I'll eat yours as well.
I feel like I'm on a high chair.
Anyway, that's that out of the way. What it does mean, though, start of May, it means it's Cinco de Mayo.
Woo!
So that means the return of Canelo back on the Mexican holiday double for the year. But this week, we're going to start actually in New York. So we're not going to start.
Go.
Let's recap quickly. It feels like a long time ago. It feels like a lot of water under the bridge since then. You just come back from New York, and you're not talking with an accent. I heard you calling someone a schmuck outside, but you're not. You haven't totally turned over yet. But I mean, it was one of those ones I didn't go where I was just watched that whole fight with pure envy. It looked like a real special one.
It was such a good trip. I could just do a podcast about my adventures rather than
maybe we should
rather than the fight itself. But yeah. Because I was the king of New York for the night. I literally was. But it was great. The whole week. I got there like Wednesday, and it was just you can't put your finger on it, but it had that feel of a big fight.
It looked like
because people say this is the biggest fight in women's boxing, which it was, but they say it's a huge occasion. You sort of, because we've been to loads of fights over the years, so you're pessimistic over everything. That's just the boxing business, isn't it? Oh, this is great, but we'll wait and see. And it was a little bit like that. So when I got there, I wasn't quite sure, but it had that tingle of anticipation all week. Like the press conference was good. The weigh-in was fantastic. So whenever there's an Irish fighter of note, there's always a massive Irish contingent, especially in New York as well. But the Puerto Ricans were, obviously, there's huge population of Puerto Ricans in New York, and they came out. I mean, they were loud at the weigh-in. They were loud in the Irish, and they started singing off. Usually, it's the Irish are singing before they wake up in the morning, but like they were out, bam, 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 straight away, and they had like all the stuff I hate, WWE characters, superstars doing like their scripted stuff, and it was all just showman, but it was brilliant. It worked. They had these girls doing the Game of Thrones music with the violins or whatever it was, and it was just fantastic.
And that's just the weigh-in.
Oh, mate, it was you go home. I thought this is great. We go home now. What an occasion this was. But fight night was great, and you sort of looked around the crowd and thought it's not too bad. And then we got to sort of Gal Yafai, who had a fantastic performance, and then it's filling up a little bit. And then we got the fight before then, which was Liam Smith versus Jesse Vargas, and you sort of think, well, it should be full of thereabouts by now, and it wasn't. You think, they've done the typical promoters. Yeah, we've sold out tickets in record time, but no one's turning up. So, and it felt like that. So I remember I was working with Steve and I said, well, this is not going to fill up. And even I don't think it is either. And then literally I sort of blinked, looked up, and it was packed. I mean, it looked like an old-fashioned rugby game where people were just sort of stood on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Like everyone sneaked in. It was just absolutely packed, and the atmosphere was great. And they had this green light come across, across the crowd when Katie Taylor walked in, and Madison Serrano came in really happy, full of energy, and she was loving it. And Katie came in looking like it was her last fight. She had like a purpose in her face and almost teary-eyed. And she soaked it all in the slowest ring walk I've ever seen in my entire life, by the way. Like, she was almost walking backwards. It was so slow. But she looked like she was like going, this is going to be the last time I do this, so I'm going to enjoy it. But the focus was there. But then still, you're not sure how good the fight's going to be. From the first round, just blown away.
Yeah.
It was just, it's not the greatest fight of all time, like some people have said, but it was brilliant. And as a spectacle, as an atmosphere and a fight and the whole occasion, it was one of the best I've been to. By far, one of the best.
You've been, atmosphere-wise, you've been big Frampton nights, Warrington nights, obviously Vegas, New York, all of them, all the big ones and all the famous atmospheres, certainly over the last 20 years or so. Where was it? Where did it rank? I've seen a few people saying it was like the best atmosphere. It's hard to gauge, but in terms of atmosphere, where was it? Was it one of those top ones?
Oh, it definitely was. Yeah, it really was. Everything about but unique more than the others, because you go to a Canelo night and they're phenomenal. They're just it's one of those bucket lists you've been to and you've got to go to, haven't you? But it's pro Canelo crowd because he's a superstar. It's the same with Ricky Hatton years ago. You go to his, what an atmosphere that was in Manchester Arena. But they're all Ricky Hatton fans. So they're all just the crowd are there to see one person really and support one person. This was different because it was almost split 50-50. And you get that on small hall shows.
Yeah.
No, like the York Hall's brilliant. That was one of the best atmospheres because usually it is a 50-50 crowd. But this was like a huge atmosphere, a huge arena, and it was split down the middle. And that now, especially in modern sports, is unique. Because not usually you just follow the one person. Everyone just follows that one superstar. But you had two superstars of their sport going into the ring together, and styles just gelled perfectly from the offset. Madison Square was just fantastic. She was, for me, at times, was walking through Katie Taylor with no respect for her power at all. Just think, you can't punch, you can't hurt me, I don't care, and was willing just to walk through walls. And that, if we're going to start from, I guess, the fifth round, I guess, the early rounds were cagey and not cagey, but they were competitive and close to score. But the fifth round, Katie was done. I mean, done. Like we were doing the commentary for BBC on the radio, and we were sort of sat to paint the picture of the demise of Katie. No, she's done. No way. The sixth round, she struggled as well. But then, like all great fighters, you just find a way. You sort of say Amanda Serrano slowed down a little bit because she put so much into those 2 rounds to get Katie Taylor out of there. But still, you still got to. No, she's tired as well. Katie Taylor more tired because taking punches is worse than throwing punches. Obviously, more tiring as well. So, she was just drained of energy, but she found just that inner strength from somewhere. And you can see why she has been at the top of the game for so long, because she just found something and boxed out of her skin. And then she was boxing better after she'd been hurt and tired than she was before that, ironically, because she wasn't moving back in straight lines. She was turning around the target, getting different angles on the shots, throwing in blusters of combinations. And Amanda Serrano looked a little bit lost in stages. But again, that last round, you put a picture up on Twitter, because I didn't really see it because you're there.
Yeah.
That last round where
it was almost,
she was literally inches, like 8 inches off the floor of her knee, and that would have changed the whole result.
And
of
you
the
see it in the thing. There was a lot of comeback from that. People saying, "Well, if she was stumbling, it wouldn't have been a knockdown." I do think if that at that point, it's up to the referee. He could well have called a knockdown if her knee had gone down. And people saying it's because of exhaustion. You don't get let off if you're exhausted and you go down. You're still knocked down.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
And that is, it was that close. But what really threw me or surprised me, that tweet, so much interaction with it. And I've never had that off the back of women's boxing. I've been tweeting about Katie Taylor ever since I've been covering her whole pro career, and no one's really ever cared. It's like gets as much as men's boxing now. Yeah. And it just showed me that that was something changed on that night.
You had the people who go, this is what it should be. If it was 3-minute rounds, she would have been beat. Well, maybe, but they were the boxers.
Yeah.
Should be 12 threes, should be 10 threes and all. Everyone's looking for something you can criticise, but it's just that they're doing 10 twos. That's their rules. That's what they did. And for those 10 2-minute rounds, there wasn't a dull moment.
No.
And you can. And also, it wasn't like there was a fight before the super middleweight fight, unification, and that was a tear up.
Yeah.
But it lacked quality. It looked, I mean, let's be honest. They're world champions, and I don't want to put them down because they are world champions. But the quality was so poor. I mean, they didn't look like world level fighters. They were swinging shots all over the place. I mean, the courage and the commitment, and for that. And if it was like, if you weren't a huge boxing fan, but just a fan of sports, that's a great watch because they just went toe to toe. They had a right little tear up. But if you're looking for quality, where the Taylor and Serrano fight, especially in that last round, just say that round alone. They had almost forehead on forehead swinging shots. But there's a technique to it. They're not just swinging with it like with their eyes closed or no bowling punches over. They're proper hooks and uppercuts throwing. And so it was quality, commitment, everything you want from a fight was in that fight. Like you can't say anything but that. It was just brilliant. And it's irrelevant whether they were women or not. Because the fight was just stood alone as a great boxing match. That's it.
And the reason I felt that that fight in particular was so watchable was because it was 10-2s and it's breathless and it's faster and there's not a dull moment in there. No knockdowns in the fight either. One of the best no knockdown fights I could remember, really. But if it was to change to 10-3 or 3-minute rounds, never mind 10 or 12, that whole dynamic changes, doesn't it? And it's a different sport even. Like,
well, for that fight, maybe, for what we've seen there. But I think then they're approaching the fight different. So,
yeah.
And also, I think, for me, I think it helps their sport if it is 3-minute rounds, because now you can be technically quite good, but you can be rushed for 2 minutes. Someone can put their foot on the gas for 2 minutes. I know it's only another minute, but that other minute makes a huge difference. Like, I mean, for your tank, for energy-wise. So you know that you're being that extra minute is so important. So if you are technical, you get more chance to do your work. There's a worry that it could be literally just a standoff. But they won't. They'll just adapt. They'll adapt their whole outlook on fights. No, but what you're getting now, you'll get more scrappy fights because it's 2 minutes and you will quality. And so we're saying that. So it looks to me that a lot of women boxers, their technique quite poor. But it's probably because they're rushing.
They got to get it done.
You got to get it done. And when you rush, then obviously the power's less.
Yeah.
Because you're not planting your shot. You're not placing your shots.
You might not get the opportunities as well in the 2 minutes. So you got to try and grab them. But then, how about then? As a little halfway house, it would have been nice if there was an 11th and a 12th round, wouldn't it? Not for those two, probably, because they left it all in there.
I don't know why there isn't 12 rounds.
For a fight like that, it felt like it was gone like that.
Especially with these, obviously you can't have a 12-round fight just for these, like for Katie Taylor and Serrano, and have a 10 for everyone else. But I think there's a lot of time, it's like a lot of the women, because they've rushed the world titles, because there's not strength and depth in the women's sport, it's getting better, but not quite yet. Then they're going from 6 to 8 rounders to world title fights. Now 6 to 8 to 12 rounds is a huge jump. I know that. So 10 rounds is a medium. Do they go from 6 to 10? Then I think it's that sort of thing, because they haven't got the luxury we have to have those intermediate fights. Because there's no intermediate fights. You're boxing people.
It's not the opponents.
You're boxing women who are not very good, and then you're boxing world level. Yeah. It's like that's the gap. So yeah, but I do think 12 rounds. I don't know why if they're doing 2 in 2 minutes. Why not do 12? Or do 10 threes. Yeah. I don't know. Who cares about that? It was. Yeah. The whole occasion was fantastic. I'm doing what I said people were doing earlier.
Yeah.
The occasion was fantastic. The fight was fantastic, and the bill was good. All the way down the line, it was a really good bill.
One thing I wanted to ask you about actually was they received some criticism for it. Actually, Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul both kind of maybe not assuming centre stage as such, but they were very much part of the promotion. Their faces were on the posters at the weigh-in. They were doing face-offs. They were doing all sort of having £1 million bets and stuff. Some people found that a little bit bad taste. Some people said, well, it's just part of the promotion. Being on the ground and being part of it in close quarters with the promotion in the week, how did you find it? Did you feel it was worthwhile? Was it a little bit distasteful?
I thought it was worthwhile, but then to be honest, I'm not a woman, so I can't see things from a woman's perspective. But I can understand that this is the biggest women's fight, but then the two men, ironically, are taking the spotlight, so that doesn't help women, women's cause. I do understand that, but I don't think it was that, because you'll get it with men fighters. I think that's the thing. You get it with, because Madison Serrano and Katie Taylor are not the greatest of talkers.
Yeah,
they can talk, they can sell it. They can sell a fight. You need it. So they
probably didn't want to either.
No,
they never had that amount.
And also, let's not forget, without Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul, this fight it happens maybe, but it happens in lockdown, which it almost did, by the way. Thank God that never happened. Yeah. But without these people, forget about they're male, they are just male, happen to be male. Without them promoting and using their influence and their popularity, these two women don't get that 7-figure paycheck for this fight. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's the same for people like me or other fighters who are not that marketable. No, these women are marketable fighters, but I mean, to sell a fight nowadays, you have to be more than just a good fighter. You have to tick every box. You have to sell it, be a loudmouth, say outrageous things, and that's how it is. And they're just not built that way, unfortunately. I love them for that. I admire them for that. They're real boxing people, but they're not. To sell a fight for a wider audience, which was 1.5 million people watched the fight apparently, or something like that. So that's unbelievable stuff. So, but they helped dramatically. I gotta say, Jake Paul, I'm not a huge fan of YouTube fights. I don't mind it, but I don't mind the fact that they're masquerading as real boxers when they're not boxing real boxers. That's the issue. But you can see why he's successful. He doesn't look, when you look at him on screen, he looks like an idiot, to be honest. Everything about him, nothing appeals to me.
Yeah.
But when you see him working in person, you can go.
He knows what he's doing.
You can understand why he's so successful.
Yeah.
He's driven. He says the right things at the right time, or the wrong things at the right time. Whatever works for him, and he's passionate. And he's passionate about Madison Serrano's career, and that's why the fight happened. No, Eddie Hearn's and you've got to give Eddie Hearn his credit. I'm not a massive fan of promoters, as you know. I know because it is what it is. But to be fair, anyone can promote Anthony Joshua. It's easy. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He sells. You could do is say a few things, and people will go and watch him. But no one wanted to watch women's sports.
Yeah.
And he sort of rammed it down your throat. Especially for the boxing hardcore fans, they didn't want to watch it. Because when it wasn't that good to watch, let's be truthful, most of it. And just some people, because they're stuck in their ways, I don't want to see women fighting. And he's rammed it down people's throats. You've got to see this, you've got to see this, you've got to see this. So in the end, but now we're thankful.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have got to see that fight. And at the end of the day, all it's about is watching. All I want to see, I don't care about titles or anything like that. I just want to see really good fights at the highest order. That's my bucket list for the rest of my life. If I can just watch all quality fights for the rest of my life, I don't care about the purses. I don't care about anything else. That's all I want to see, because I love boxing. I love watching good fights. Whether they're technical masterclass or they're wars, if they're good to watch, I love it. And that was one of those. It was one of those. I was there moments, and I'm glad I was there. And I'm gutted you weren't.
Yeah, gutted. I'll tell you one man who's definitely glad he was there on the night. Just wanted to touch on this. Liam Smith.
Great.
Got the stoppage, great win. I always felt like that was that Jesse Vargas made for him, style-wise.
Yeah, so
I didn't see it as a close fight. I was big on Liam Smith, and as it proved, stopped him. What was it, 10th round?
See, I didn't think he'd stop him. Yeah. I didn't think he'd stop him. I thought Jesse Vargas is tough. He doesn't box tough or act tough, but he's tough. He was acting tough at the weigh-in.
I thought that was hilarious, by the way. Liam Smith just sort of soaking it up as if it was kind of... Jesse Vargas obviously had no idea about Liam Smith, and he's laughing in his face thinking, this is not going to work, mate.
Liam Smith's a really hard man.
Yeah.
And I think he's really hard outside the ring.
Yeah.
Just gives you that type, you know what I mean? He's just a real tough, hard man who can actually box.
Yeah.
So he's really, really horrible. But he was doing all that. He don't care, because he'd have a fight. You see Liam Smith, he'd have a fight. You know. You could see it, didn't he? But he likes to rile everyone he fights. He always riles him up. That's just how he is. I don't know how he does it. He didn't say that much. It's just something about him that gets under their skin. He's good at that. But and early in the fight, I thought, actually, he's got to move his head a little bit more and all that. But he was just focused on, I'm just going to make you work too hard, tire you out, and beat you up on a stretch. And that's what he did. I thought it was one of his best performances. Yeah, I agree. To be honest, if not his best performance. Yeah. And on a big stage, and he gets a world title shot at that, because he got I thought he got turned over in Russia. I did, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Not a lot of people watch it, but I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched the fight. I remember going, just can't see how he's losing this fight. So against Kurbanov, and so I think he needed a rub of the green, but he didn't need it. No, if he was to get one, but he didn't need it, because he just walked to Jesse Vargas. By the halfway stage, Vargas was tired. Once Vargas, his feet are not fast. Once his hands slowed down, Smith just walked through him.
Just one more on the weekend. Switching coasts slightly later, Shakur Stevenson, talking about best performance of his career, probably his best one against Oscar Valdez. Proper did a number on him. Big win. I mean, we've been big, especially you've been high on Shakur Stevenson ever since he turned over, really, even as an amateur. Yeah. Big win against a proper opponent, world champion.
Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated world champion. And he's done a number on him. And that is, I don't know, he seems to me like a proper superstar. I mean, he kind of already is now, but we're talking proper Mayweather level superstar. That's what he's made for.
I think he is, because I think he got enough of a dislikability factor.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and I think he can cope with that. But in the ring, he's a joy to watch. Technically very good. He knows where he is all the time in the ring. Hand speed, and he got the reach as well. He's a tall, long fighter, and yeah. I always thought it was going to be a fight that he'd win. Not comfortable, but I thought he'd win it wide.
Yeah, style-wise, it looked good for him.
But it was just too easy for him. That's the truth of it, to be honest. And you're talking about Valdez, who had that great win against Miguel Berchelt. Yeah. The one nobody wanted to fight at super featherweight. I was big on Berchelt to beat Valdez.
Yeah, me too.
Because you see what Valdez used to fight, and he can actually box really well, can't he? But against Stevenson, I just didn't see how he could make a dent. But yeah, Stevenson's the next star, and I think, you know. And did he say he's going to move up?
Yeah, do you reckon he's ready? Let him loose on the lightweights now?
I'd go now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'd just go now. Yeah.
He's long and tall enough for it, isn't he? And he's obviously skillful enough. But
see, I know Cambosis had that great win against Lopez. I'm not sure if he's just a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure. I sort of hope not, because you also like to see someone like that just come from nowhere to make something and then stay there. But I got a feeling that he is. I just think Lopez took him really lightly. And
I don't think anyone will underrate him again, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and someone like Stevenson as well. I think he can box you. And again, it's all about that adaptability that makes these fighters stand apart. I think Stevenson can box you in multiple ways. And I think and he can just dance around and make you just chase shadows if he wants to, or he can be aggressive and push you on the back foot behind that long jab and that long right hand. And so yeah,
I want to see him against Lomachenko. That's my dream fight at lightweight.
Yeah,
it'd be incredible. They sparred before. It'd be a very interesting one. It might not be the most entertaining fight for the casual, so to speak.
Probably not. But yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really Lomachenko because you just feel that. I got a feeling you're just not going to see him again.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Or you don't know what level and who again.
But the age now and how good he's been, and he's had a long, hard career through his amateur.
As a life,
I wonder whether we see him again. But Stevenson, we will see again, and I think he is the next superstar of world boxing.
Yeah. Now the current superstar of world boxing is back in action. May the 7th, he's got maybe his hardest fight to date. Dmitry Bivol challenges for his WBA light heavyweight title in Las Vegas. Yeah, how do you see this one?
I don't see it as like that.
You don't?
No, I mean, the size factor, but we've been saying that since he moved up to middleweight.
Yeah.
No, and
doesn't seem to be a massive problem.
He's not cherry picking fights, but you've had a look at Bivol, and he loves a challenge. Canelo, that's true, but he doesn't take fights that he can win. No, that's the truth. This is a fight he can lose. And the size and always. Well, the difference when he moves up in weight is the impact that his punches have on the opponent. But he's boxing the guy here who runs hot and cold, Bivol, and boxes at one pace.
But do you think he's doing that because he's boxing down a bit? Well, and when he gets the best, he
hasn't boxed no one at a high level to find out. You know what I mean? Like I do. So you look at who he's fought and who Canelo's fought, and it's night and day, isn't it? That's the truth of it. So you just don't know. I just can't see how Canelo has that much trouble. I think he has to take his time and adapt, but he always does that. He never rushes into rounds early and tries to get him out there. He always has a look and takes his time and see. Because he wants to feel your power and he wants you to see if he can hurt you. I just think the fact that he can let his punches go in combinations, he'll be able to slip inside the jab of Bivol. Bivol's got a good jab, but it's not the fastest of jabs. It's a heavy. It's like every sort of Eastern Bloc type fighter, if we can call him that. He's not Russian anymore. But they turn their foot with that front jab, so everything is hard.
Yeah,
the jab's a solid punch, and you feel it, and it's accurate as well. And he also what Bivol does quite well is he takes a little step back, so he can make you miss, make you pay. He's hard to hit clean, but I think Canelo will slide into the distance. Not easy, but I think it'll be easier as the rounds go on.
He did it well against Smith, didn't he? It was a perfect game plan. It seems like if he does a similar sort of number, it could be the
I know he's moved up a weight again, though. Smith's big.
Smith's big, yeah.
Weight, but he's moving up in weight to his natural strength, and all those things are coming into a factor. But I don't see it as a hard fight for him. I think I sort of did before, because you just think, oh, Bivol, yeah, that's a hard fight. But when I really sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, is it though? What does he do?
Yeah, you're basing it off hypothetical stuff with Bivol. It's stuff that we might not have seen him do before, because there's been massive promise, but actually you're right, he's been hot and cold.
But when does he look good?
Yeah.
Against who? And does he look good against who's he look good against? I don't see it. He might rise to the occasion, by the way. There's always that, but you can say that about everyone. But I just think that unless if Canelo's still in form and still as good as he was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights ago, then he has been. Then I just think that he gets into, after a few rounds of adjustments, he gets to the distance easy. He hurts Bivol, not seriously hurts him, but Bivol feels the power, and Bivol goes into defense mode. And then once he does that, and Canelo just walks him down.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he stops him, whether it goes to punch. I would imagine. I got a feeling that he might go the distance.
Yeah, same.
But I think he wins quite. Yeah, because he doesn't move like Plant. By the way,
No, or Saunders.
He beat Plant.
Yeah.
He was only one winner there. But I mean, again, with the movement of Plant, always means that he's going to have to up the pace to chase him down. But Bivol, he moves out distance quite well. But there's nowhere, once he takes that 2-step back, there's nowhere to go but throw back.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. He moves back and he throws back when you come forward. But against Canelo, Canelo's going to come forward here, and then roll and be over this side. So Bivol's got to go looking for him. I think he gets beat quite conclusively.
I was looking at it. Bivol 19-0, 11 inside the distance, but he actually hasn't stopped anyone for 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years in November since his last stoppage. Since then, he's gone the distance with Sullivan Barrera, Isaac Chilemba, John Pascal, Joe Smith Jr., Lenny Castillo, Craig Richards, and Umar Salamov. So you think if he ain't stopping that lot, he ain't stopping Canelo, is he? You would think.
I don't think so. These are all naturally bigger guys. Canelo's got one of the best chins in boxing.
Good chin, and he's not going to be. He's not hittable necessarily. He's not elusive, but he's not.
No.
You don't see him getting hit a lot in this fight.
No, I don't think so.
So for me, that seems like a distance fight, and if it goes a distance, surely Canelo wins.
Yeah, regardless of all,
regardless of judging or anything.
Because it's in Vegas, but yeah, I just think
based on how the fight will go.
He's a better all rounder.
Yeah.
You look at I think to beat Canelo, you have to get him when he was 23, or 53, one or the other. But no, I just think you have to have something special, and where for me Bivol does a lot of things really well. He doesn't stand out in any factor of anything in boxing. Nothing in his arsenal goes whoa. He's got a good jab. He's got a nice right hand. He moves quite well, so he's solid. He's a solid, good world champion. But again, who's he box like Sullivan Barrera?
Yeah,
it's a good win, but it's not a great win. Chilemba,
they're all
an old Chilemba, a really old Pascal.
Yeah,
they're good wins. But even
he's also not sparkling in these fights.
No, and even if they were at their peak, which they weren't, they were nowhere near their peak, by the way. But if they were in their peak, they're still only good wins. They're not outstanding. I mean, Pascal would be an outstanding win actually, but the others are only just good wins. Craig Richards that doesn't. I mean, on the world, not disrespect to Craig Richards, he's a good fighter, and he showed really good how good he was in that fight. But I mean, that doesn't. If you're world level like Canelo, him beating Craig Richards in a fight where he won, but he never went his own way, doesn't scare you in the slightest, do it? You just go, look at this. He just beat some local domestic guy. Because that's what they look at it. It's just he beat some guy who's not even in the top 50. In Canelo's mind, that's what he would think.
Yeah.
So you just can't see where the fear factor is for Canelo. The only fear factor for Canelo is the weight. And I think if Bivol can't hurt Canelo, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Or not hurt. You can't hurt Canelo. What am I talking about? I mean, if you can't demand Canelo's respect,
slow him down
with the weight of the shots, then you got no chance.
One thing I did wonder, because in the Kovalev fight, Kovalev was doing well really until he got stopped. He was in the fight. Saunders not so much, but had success. Like you mentioned, Caleb Plant had success. Do you think there could be a chance that Bivol wins a couple of rounds early on, does get his respect, does keep it long, does use his size to his advantage, and then if Canelo can't get to him, is there a chance he nicks something on points? If Canelo can't, like he did with Kovalev, close the show, won the fight, but if he doesn't do that, can't manage that against a fresher light heavyweight, and let's be honest, probably the second best light heavyweight in the world as well, not just like someone else, he's like arguably the best one, could he sort of get in control of the fight early and then not get stopped and win the fight on points?
I don't think so.
No, Canelo too good to let that happen.
I think so. I think he's diced a little bit, haven't he, Canelo? With defeat, especially the Kovalev one. That was a risk. That was. He always felt he
got him. Yeah,
always thought he'd just catch up with him, didn't he? But and he does give away rounds. No, he doesn't. We think he's giving away rounds. Or sometimes the scorecards don't reflect that. But I don't think there's any urgency in the work of Bivol. When does he fight in spurts? When does he up the pace? When? He can throw combinations at times, and he has. When he's forced to, he'll fire back. But I mean, I haven't seen an urgency in his work. And again, go back to that Eastern Bloc type scenario of fighters where they fight at the one pace, but it's effective and strong, and everything's heavy. Every punch is thought out and delivered with maximum weight, even if it's not a devastating knockout punch. So that's where they're hard, because then you can't. Every time you get caught, you got to go and reset yourself, and that's what they get you. and that's how they beat you at box or stop you. But he needs urgency in his work. Because if you can win a few rounds and frustrate Canelo, then you've got to keep a high tempo. I think you have to be a high tempo to beat Canelo.
Do you think there might be a lack of urgency might have been because he's been so much in control and so much better than the guys he's fought, like the names we just listed, and when it actually gets on top, that's what I'm interested to see what happens. When it comes on top, what sort of a guy is he? Because he beat on his amateur boxing, beat Beterbiev in the amateur proper, but he's never quite had it on top in the pros, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens at that point.
I'm sure he can rally if someone's. Yeah. I'm sure he can get in a tear up and fire back. But I mean, a lot of things are habits. So I say about young fighters, when they're boxing all these journeymen in their career and they're looking really good, but you can just be aware of the bad habits, because you're dropping your hands and getting away with it now at this level.
We saw it with Josh Kelly for what.
Yeah, but then when you step up a level, you that's a bad habit because you're doing it because I can.
Yeah.
But then you be careful, because then when you step up a level, that becomes a habit. You naturally do that. You have to train like this, and you have to fight like that way. You always have to fight every fight as if you're boxing someone who's better than you, I think. And then even if you know you're going to walk through them, otherwise you create bad habits are harder to get rid of than good habits are to create.
Yeah.
And that might be the thing with Bivol, because he's never had to fight at a high tempo. Maybe he can't, but no, if he has, because he hasn't. We don't know if he can, but all his career not fighting at a high tempo would suggest that he doesn't know how to, or can't, or won't be able to now because he's stuck in his ways. Because he's not a novice. He's in 20 fights. This would be here now, but most of those fights have been at a high level. So he's an experienced campaigner at world level, and so you're not used to. He never had to put his foot on the gas for 5 continuous rounds, 4 continuous rounds. Or he's never been forced to. No. And that's the thing. That's what I'd say. What Canelo does so well, he dictates the pace, even when you're winning rounds. We did it with Billy Joe Saunders so well. It gives the impression Billy's winning rounds, but the rounds are close.
Yeah.
But
and they're draining.
But he makes you feel like you're in them. But it takes more out of you just to stay in that round, win or lose the round, just to stay in it, than it does for him.
Yeah.
I said it the other week, but his physical presence just tires you out. He makes you know he's 5'8" when he gets in the when he walk into the ring. When he gets in the ring, he's 6'4". No, that's what his presence is like. He's intimidating, and which is quite unique for a smaller fighter to do that all through the weight. So that he has, because they've had to adapt slightly their style, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
If anything, he's become more of an intimidating animal as he's moved up in weights than he was when he was at the lower weights.
I'd agree, yeah.
Ironically.
I mean, he looks massive, doesn't he, at this weight? Like thick, and he's a big boy, even though he's always smaller now than his opponent.
But just even though his actual physical size, just normally, you go up against him, Bivol will go up against him, and he'll tower over him, and he'd be just as wide, but he won't look it because he's not as short. But then just the way he puts himself out there with the front foot and the little moves he'll do with the shoulders and feinting you all the time, and you panic because they know, because your reputation precedes you now.
Of course, yeah.
Because sometimes he'll say about punches, I could never punch to save my life, but I mean, make him feel your power early. Kind of what it's like when you get hit with a big shot. Whenever it hits you, you go, I don't want to quit. I don't want to catch one of those again. Yeah. And then you're thinking about your game plan, but also no, that's in your mind that I got to win this round, but I got to be careful not to get caught with that. Or anything. That's what Golovkin was so. These is the same sort of thing. You just like no one wants to get hit with any shot because they know if they get hit. But sometimes, unless you got that, when you don't have that reputation, you have to make them do it, feel it. No, Canelo's and people like he don't have to do that because the
work's done.
Yeah. He's done it in previous fights. You've seen him. We've got to be careful of this, careful of that, careful of this.
Just to mention on this size, actually, it's Canelo fight week, so there's always weird and wonderful stuff pops up. One thing that's come out is that he said he wants to fight Oleksandr Usyk if they can make it at 201 pounds.
That's too much
for the world heavyweight title. I mean, yeah.
I said that about Golovkin.
Yeah, you did.
Too much.
I mean, Beterbiev would be a good bridge, and we'll see, because Beterbiev massive puncher, but actually style-wise, nothing similar. And I mean, I don't even know how you pictured Canelo and Usyk, because Usyk's not that big. He's about my size, 6'3" or something like that, 6'4".
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But
Usyk's not going to make cruiserweight again.
No.
I know this terrible thing was happening in Ukraine right now. He's probably lost a bit of weight.
Yeah.
There, but he's not going to go back down.
No.
Because I know it's a huge money fight.
Can you imagine it? I mean, I can't, because it's a bit too far. It's a bit too pie in the sky. But it's one of them where it's tantalisingly kind of almost possible.
Yeah, I just don't.
Maybe a couple of years ago.
I don't want to get to a point where it becomes like a circus.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you know, what you're gonna buy? What are you gonna buy? One-footed bear next or whatever. You know,
I mean,
so where does it
I'd
go?
watch it.
You would watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should fight a wrestler. Could in the if you're not Kevin Amint, you're gonna start getting like those like YouTubers are gonna start coming involved in boxing. You're gonna get like MMA fighters are gonna start fighting. It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, it could be bad then.
I remember
to
I said this first.
Yeah. So Canelo-Usyk, let's park that one. I mean, he's got to get through Dmitry Bivol first, and then
I think he does though.
yeah, I would agree. And then, all things considered, if it all goes, he's a big favourite. Then it's Golovkin in September.
Yeah.
So we are told.
There's only one winner.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they'll ever have a bad fight.
No, yeah.
I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Even if they're in wheelchairs, years to come, they still have a good scrap.
Where's the bear? Bear could be the ref.
Sellable, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're the perfect dance partners for each other to have a really good fight. But I just think Golovkin he's still a good fighter, and people just are writing him off now already. But because he is 40, but Canelo's have moved on.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you think Canelo, if all goes well, beats Bivol and they fight in September, do you think he'll stop him this time? I see a lot of people off the back of the Murata fight saying, he'll definitely get stopped, he's finished. When you really think of Golovkin, how hard he is and how tough he is, I don't think he's ever been down at all as an amateur or a pro. Like
I don't, cause I think the first few rounds he was getting knocked back with shots.
Yeah.
But he hadn't boxed for a long time.
No.
And I just think, but then once you got past that halfway stage,
he's fine.
He sort of walked through him then, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, like he looked pretty good after that. So I don't think, or whatever it was, once I get up the first 4 rounds, I think he looked quite good. But I don't see, I don't think he stops him.
Mm.
And also because he's felt the power of Golovkin, by the way, though he took the shots really well. You've got 2 great chins there, and I think you can't dine out in your chin forever, and it might be a factor that Golovkin just know the resistance is gone. But Murata's a big puncher, heavy-handed. And except for knocking him back, that was about it, wasn't it, really? And Golovkin always, when he fights, he always goes, always just like he's knackered and hurt, doesn't he? Like he has that thing, but he's not. That's just how he is, I think, because he maintains the same pace. But no, I think I'd be shocked if he stopped him, but I think he beats him, out of sight. I think Canelo beats Golovkin out of sight in the 3rd fight. Yeah. But it's still a great fight to watch.
Lovely. Well, I did want to leave the last word actually for Katie Taylor, as we're on Matchmaker. Do you think you'll have the rematch, and do you think it will be at Croke Park?
I think it will be a rematch. I don't know. I can't remember the last time there was a professional fight in Southern Ireland.
No.
It'd be fantastic if it was, but I don't know if you get the same atmosphere as you had.
Especially outdoors. Croke Park, is it covered? I don't think it's covered, no.
But you don't get that... You don't get the Puerto Ricans there who made it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Irish always make it. You can't get a better crowd than the Irish crowd. But I mean, the Puerto Ricans made it as well. I'd rather it like there again, to be honest. Wherever I can go, as long as I can go.
As long as you can go. Feels like she deserves it though, doesn't she? That moment in the 5th when she snatched the victory away from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah.
We'd never see her have to do that before. That was a box ticked in our legacy, and that fight in Ireland, big one, 90,000 or whatever. That's another one. I feel like she deserves it. Her career and the story of Katie Taylor needs it.
And she was a winner, by the way. There was no. I didn't see the argument in the results. I thought there was only one winner. To be fair, Serrano was brilliant, and you might have fancy in the rematch as it goes. Because I think that fight might have took more out of Katie Taylor than it did Serrano. I think.
That's a good point.
Where does she go from here? What's she got to prove? I know the money's going to be huge, and I understand that. Take it for the money. But that was a hard fight for her. I mean, what a way to go out. If she retire now, it doesn't. No, her legacy is intact 100%. There's no stain in it at all. It's a perfect career, and she's done everything right. And she broke down barriers for women's sports, not just boxing. I feel, and she's been great. And it's a great fight to finish on. One of the greatest fights you would see live. No, the rematches very rarely produce the same quality. So I would think there's a good time for the bows. She won't.
Yeah.
And I understand that more than anything. But and also if someone's offering you more money again, and you get the chance to do you get a chance to go to Croke Park, and you get a chance to sell out, and which I'm sure they would. I presume it would. But I underestimated Serrano's place in the ticket sales.
She's a New Yorker.
Yeah, but she's still a woman boxer.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how they perceived it over in the States as they do over here.
Yeah, it's true.
Or over in Ireland, you know. So I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, she did herself proud there with everything involved. So yeah, who wouldn't want to see that fight again? I want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, for their health, they shouldn't do it, but for our enjoyment, definitely.
It's always the way. Well said. Okay, Barry, thanks so much for your time. More importantly, no offense, thanks so much for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and we'll hopefully see you at the next one.